Here is a graph of the 10 players who scored the most 3-point games. And here is Wilt Chamberlain. Among the NBA untouchable records, Wilt Chamberlain surely holds a few. Yeah, that's quote-unquote dominance. But what's actually dominance? Rightfully or not, we tend to judge the dominance of a player only by his ability to score and win. Even the GOAT Michael Jordan is no exception to this rule. Before his first victory in the finals, he was only seen as a great scorer, not an all-time great. Just for the record, here's Michael Jordan's achievements before his first championship. Yeah. The narrative was the same for Giannis, LeBron, Dirk, or even Kobe Bryant, who despite his ability to score,
18 for 20 from the line and an 81-point game,
had to prove he could win without Shaq. And that's why Patrick Ewing's name is never mentioned among the greatest. The lack of championships. The same thing for Maurice Malone, with the lack of scoring. But some legends have both and yet they are overlooked. Like John Havlicek. He scored 24,000 points and won 5 championships. Only Jordan, Kobe, Duncan and Abdul-Jabbar have done as much. But somehow nobody mentioned him as one of the most dominant players of his generation. The same for Alvin Hayes. He's 9th all-time in scoring, 4th in rebounds and champion with the Bullets in '78. But once again, nobody cares. But there is one player who seems to escape this wall. If you make a list of the most dominant players in the history of the game, there's a good chance Wilt Chamberlain will come up fast. And yet, 2 rings against Bill Russell's 11, I don't think it weighed much. Here is a graph of the 10 players who scored the most 3-point games. Right at the top, you'll find Michael Jordan with 31 and Kobe Bryant with 25. Just behind them is James Harden, who was on his way to shatter his record in Houston, but that's another story. He's followed by Elgin Baylor and Rick Barry, who are often disregarded as great scorers. LeBron and Dame are tied at 12, and Curry completes the top 10 right behind Iverson and Abdul-Jabbar. And here is Wilt Chamberlain. 1962 season. Yeah. Michael Jordan, in his entire career, has less 50-point games than Wilt Chamberlain had in a single season. So having the scoring sure helps. Well, kinda. In that season, in which he averaged 50.4 points, Bill Russell won the MVP. Not him, not Oscar Robertson's 30-point triple-double, or even Elgin Baylor 38 points and 18 rebounds. Bill Russell. Besides the fact that this is the craziest MVP race ever, it means that the voters considered Bill Russell's defense more valuable than Wilt Chamberlain's peak. And here's why. The pace indicates the number of possessions a team plays per game. A higher pace means more possessions, more shots, and ultimately more points. Here is a graph of the average pace over the years. You can see the rise of the Warriors that made the pace go through the roof. In the mid-90s to late 2000, the pace was at an all-time low due to the extreme amount of ISO that these guys have brought in the NBA. But what's this? An average pace of 126. Today's pace is about 19.2. The pace was at an all-time high, and so are the player stats. So it's not fair, especially for the scorers of the 90s and 2000s, who were scoring more points than ever without even coming remotely close to that pace. If we remove the points per game and replace them with points per 25 possessions, which is a good historical average of what a superstar plays relative to his minutes and pace of play in a game, in the 1962 season, Wilt Chamberlain averaged only 28.1 points, and Baylor 38 points become 24.7. Here are the greatest seasons in points per 75. And Wilt Chamberlain is nowhere to be found in the top 30. And Michael Jordan, yeah, good job. I'm not trying to diminish Wilt Chamberlain's peak, he dominated his era like few have ever done. He elevated his name among the greatest and put it in the record books forever. Oh yeah, the actual graph looks like this.